welcome to the Resistance broadcast. I am John. That's Lacey. No, that's Lacey. And we are live here to talk to you about Star Wars, as we always do, as things are heating up. We are so close to the debut of the Acolyte on Disney Plus. If my math is correct, I think it's like 11 or 12 days away.
Mm-hmm.
And Lacey, we're here to talk and maybe do even more speculating, more theorizing as new BTS behind the scenes clips come out, new TV spots come out, more interviews, trying to connect those dots. And I really, Lacey, I don't know what it is about tonight. Like last week, I had a rough week last week, and I had to like drag my body to the chair to get recording and do live show. This week, I feel like Charlie Day in that meme or that GIF where he's trying all the conspiracies and he's connecting the red line and stuff.
Isn't it Pepe Silva Pepe or something like that?
Yeah, from Always Sunny.
Yeah, basically like it's Pepe.
I just have this. I have a new theory based on the popular theory that's been going around. So I'm going to toss that out there based on
which is the twin theory. Everybody has that theory.
The very popular twin theory now. So any way you slice it, the show is exciting for me because I am not sure what is going to happen, but everything I've seen so far looks great. And the new stuff we've seen looks great too. And we'll get into that in a minute. But first, I just want to thank everybody who is joining us live. If you're in the chat or you're just hanging out on the couch, or if you're listening on your podcast app, either way, thank you so much for being a part of TRB. We're going to have a really great show. If you are joining us live, please submit questions because we are going to be doing Ask the Resistance later in the show. They can be Acolyte heavy or anything Star Wars, and we'll try to get to as many as we can. So just pop them in the chat if you think about them, use the hashtag, and away we go. And of course, if you want to support us through Super Chats, those are available too, and your comments will be read on the show, not just in Ask the Resistance, but at any point during the show. And Lacey, before we get going, we have to say thank you to the folks at Lucasfilm who invited TRB to this premiere of The Acolyte, which is happening tonight, actually right now. So now where did that photo come from? You're there. I'm here. Yeah. We're not in LA right now. So where the heck did that photo come from, Lacey?
So we recruited some people from the TRB base from our resistance officers to cover it for us and give us some pictures and photos from the event so that we could give you guys the full experience of being there. So shout out to Danny and Neil, who are on the ground right now at the Acolyte premiere. By the way, so my cats are in the room with me tonight compared to other weeks. My cat
Nobody can hear him.
Me. No, but he's attacking me, so that's why I'm like pushing him away. Anyway,
well, I was using the power of the witches to possess your cat to scratch at your leg.
I mean, that's literally what he was doing. Like I'm trying to like get him to leave me alone. Yeah, they're there right now, and we're really excited. So we're gonna have photos and videos of them on site. Thank you so much to Lucasfilm for supporting TRB and for letting us cover these events. We're super pumped. Unfortunately, given personal circumstances between John and I, John with his family, and then me being basically the food source for my child who's currently teething, it's kind of hard to get away for like one night into LA. But we're gonna have all those updates. So have a great time, Danny and Neil. We'll be following along. And head over to our social channels to get all the details at TRB Podcasts.
Yeah, and the community we've been able to build with TRB, that we can send 2 people from our community who happen to be out there to attend this for us, and I'm really happy for them because I'm not sure if either one of them have been to an event like this. But so I hope they have a great time, and thanks both Neil and Danny, because we know that you're great people and you're going to represent us the right way, and that means a lot to us. And yeah, thanks again to Lucasfilm for sending us the invite. Like Lacey said, I have personal family circumstances that I have to stay close to home right now, and Lacey, as you mentioned, you have Archie, so a lot going on with us, but TRB is there being represented, so we look forward to sharing what they find out. And of course, Neil and Danny are keeping their lips shut until see this
No
thing.
spoilers.
So for us, it's we're back. We're in normie stage right now. We're speculating. We're theorizing. We're gonna wonder about what everything that's going on with the Acolyte, but also we're gonna check in with Rey Skywalker and the future of that movie later in the show. So Lacey, do you have anything else you want to toss out there before we fire up the news?
No, but the pizza time is getting shorter and shorter for me.
Mm.
Lucasfilm, please come through.
So for people who may not be up to speed on the latest TRB bet, we've for
Mhm.
now, I say for now because I don't like permanence. For now, we have retired the pie in the face bet. So the current bet is buy a pizza pie for the winner of the bet, and the current bet is in any of the trailers or TV spots will Yoda appear for the Acolyte in the promotional marketing. And so
Mhm.
far, Lacey is striking out because our little green friend has not appeared, and it's looking good for Captain Pizza over here. I am very excited, and I'll make sure when when Lacey hand delivers a
Did
pizza.
you really just call me Lisa?
Well, I said pizza and Lacey
Oh
together.
my god.
So when Lacey hand delivers a pizza to my front door, I will be sure to document it so that everyone knows that it happened and that humility will last forever on my phone.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
no, all jokes aside, I love when we have our little fun bets because I've lost some too. I've had pie right in the face, so it's happened.
Yeah, you did
Uh,
lose for to me though.
Not yet, but
Not yet. I'm the
stay tuned.
losing better.
Yeah. Oh, and for all of you out there who enjoy other nerdy stuff, like the Beetlejuice trailer came out and a lot of other fun stuff. Nerdy and Nice is our pop culture podcast under the TRB banner, and our next episode will be with you on Monday. So go look up Nerdy and Nice on your favorite podcast app, follow it, subscribe, rate it, and let's talk about other nerdy stuff besides Star Wars. But now
Mhm.
it's time to talk about Star Wars. So let's hop into the Resistance Report.
It's the Resistance.
Okay, it's all about the Acolyte to kick things off here. Lacey, we got a new behind the scenes clip, like a 2-minute clip with interviews from the cast,
We did.
crew, Leslie Headland, more shots and stuff like that. You and I love behind the scenes stuff, so no questions there. We also got that little new TV spot that had a couple more bits of dialogue and maybe a couple more shots. I did notice a very curious shot of what looks to be Kelnaka taking a swipe at Master Soul with shorter hair. I'm thinking maybe a
Mhm.
flashback. And then, of course, we have the new scene, the fight between May and Master Soul that was released. Again, very similar to the fight with her and Carrie Ann Moss's character, Master Indara. A lot
Mhm.
of just hand-to-hand stuff, a lot of martial arts, very cool. And then we have a lot of interviews. So let's just kick things off by talking about this footage that we saw. I'm going to go back to the Kelnaka thing real quick. So in that TV spot, it was a 30-second TV spot posted by Star Wars. And at the end, it really looks like it's the Wookiee swinging his lightsaber with Master Soul jumping over it with his blue lightsaber. So you have Jedi fighting Jedi. And it's really fed into this new theory I have. Or it's sort of like built upon a theory I've had. So I don't know if you want me to just launch into that or the things that you would like to talk about these
You wanna
clips.
kick it off with your theory?
We can kick it off with the theory because it might
Okay,
get a
let's
little
do it.
nutty here.
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. So I'm not married to this idea, but I think it's possible that I'm just gonna put it out there. Everyone has heard about this twin theory that there's two versions of Amandla Stenberg's character.
Well,
A
the
good
poster
one,
kinda kicked that off for a lot of people, I think, because you had the 2 versions of her.
the two versions juxtaposed, facing opposite directions. One seems to be dark side, one seems to not be dark side.
Mhm.
So I just have this thought that the not leaks of it, but they kind of screwed up with the subtitles because they had a different character name under her when she's saying like, "It wasn't me, I didn't do it."
Right,
It
right.
says Asha or Osha. So then other trades digged into it. I think IO9 looked into it, and they're sort of buying into the twin thing. So here's my theory. I'm just going to toss out there. It's not twins, but they're going to position it as though it is twins. And the big twist is going to be, you thought the twist was that it's twins. The real twist is that you thought it was twins and it's the same person who's being periodically possessed. That's what I'm thinking.
So
And
you're thinking they're leaning into the twin thing because Star Wars fans would assume it's twins.
yes, and look, it's way more likely than not that it's twins. But hear me out. So you got these witches involved. We have Mother Anicia, and like it says on the Star Wars databank, she's a leader of a coven who value their independence and the preservation of their beliefs and powers.
Mm-hmm.
In these flashback scenes, it looks like there's some level of contention between these witches and the Jedi. In the High Republic, Jedi are in charge. Everyone loves the Jedi. In public, maybe they're starting to get a little like bitter and a little animosity behind the scenes. I can't help but think that maybe this coven struck a deal with the devil and the Sith got in their ear and is using them to implement their powers to possess people with spirits of the Sith to do horrible things and make the Jedi look like they're the evil ones.
Yeah, we started
And
talking about this last week where we were saying
so,
how basically the Sith are creating chaos through other people so that
yeah,
people don't assume it's them.
in the shadows, make it
Mhm.
look like the Jedi are actually doing these awful things because in some ways you are having them do that. And the
Mm.
reason why I'm leaning into this is one, that shot of Kel Naka fighting Soul. It's clearly two Jedi, blue lightsaber. It definitely looks like Master Soul, and it's definitely Kel Naka.
You're talking
Why
about
would
the
those
TV spot?
in the TV spot? Yeah. Why would those two be fighting each other? Then I remember seeing in one of the earlier trailers that young Jedi, that young boy, having his eyes blackened out and he falls to his knees. Yeah, that shot right there, if you're watching on YouTube, of
Mhm.
Naka and Soul. So then you have that young Jedi falling to his knees, his eyes black over. Then in one of the TV spots recently, I believe it's the beginning of it, the character of May or Asha, whatever this is waking up gasping for air. I
It's the
think that's
TV spot, yeah. They used
I think
the
that's
whole breath thing they did that with Rey too, with The Last Jedi.
I think that could be her waking up from a spell of possession. Now my meatier part of this is two photos, two stills or frames or whatever you want to call it from two different pieces. So in the behind the scenes clip, we see behind the scenes clip, we see what is clearly this May character attacking this bearded Jedi in this white robe. And
Mhm.
then in this other photo from the TV spot, we see the unmasked character, which looks more like the one that has the droid and the vest that was subtitled as Asha, seemingly finding this person coming down these stairs. He's already on the ground. I can't help but think that she is maybe committing these acts and then wakes up and doesn't realize what happened and is finding these people. And that's why she's on the run, because then people find her on these crime scenes and she's sitting there screaming, "It wasn't me." I
Mhm.
think that would be genius if Leslie Headland did that. Put us, because she has said multiple times, what you think is happening is not happening. I can't help but think that she likes the idea that the twin theory has caught on. She saw the poster. She's like, I love it. They're going to think it's twins. It's Star Wars. I think Leslie Headland likes to march to the beat of her own drum. I think she likes originality. She
Mhm.
loves and honors and respects George Lucas. She loves legends. She likes borrowing from things. But something as big as twins, I think for her, I don't know her, but I think for her would maybe be a little too on the nose for Star Wars. So
She also
I'm just
brought up in previous interviews that she's very much influenced and inspired by the Night Sisters, and she says, "Night Sisters aren't in this, but I'm inspired by them." And we saw the Night Sisters possess people in Ahsoka. Like, that just happened.
yes, and that happened, and also in Rebels it happens.
Right.
And then in Legends, she said she'd like dug into Legends too. In Legends on Wikipedia, it says possession was an ability where a spirit, usually a malevolent one, took over a living being's body and directed their actions. And it references directly the witches. Now I know this isn't Mother Talzin and the witches of Dathomir, but this is another witch coven. They can be practicing similar dirty deeds. So I'm just tossing this theory out there that it isn't twins, that it's the same person, but she doesn't realize that when she wakes up in her good natural self, she doesn't realize that she has been possessed by these dark side spirits. And that's why we see all these flashes of these witches. That's why we're seeing Jedi on Jedi. I think it's the Sith using this dark magic to promise them their independence. Look, the Jedi are coming after you. They're questioning what you're doing. We don't care what you do. Do whatever you want. Have your freedom. Have your
Help us and
independence.
we'll help
But
you.
help me. And yeah, so I think this is an orchestrated plot by the Sith to get into the Jedi and make them not only do bad things, but look bad to the public, break their distrust so that people turn on the Jedi. And then you get the fall of the Jedi, and then you get what happens in the prequels where people started doubting the Jedi. So
Yeah.
I'm just tossing it out there as a possible theory. There's other quotes that lead me to think it's possible, but that's leading into the articles. So do you want me to get into one of those quotes, or do you want me to hit
let's get into
pause?
the articles.
Okay.
We're bopping around, as you would say.
All right. So Amandla, which I just realized it's pronounced Amandla. Amandla Stenberg was asked how she was pitched the show, and this is her exact quote. The show was actually pitched to me in visual form. I had a meeting with Leslie and Lucasfilm, Rain Roberts. We sat down for some brunch, and they opened up. They love the brunch. That's
I
like a
love
daisy
brunch
bag.
too.
It was like lunch or brunch. Yeah, that's not part of the quote. Sorry. So she goes, and they opened up this iPad with concept art that had been conceptualized with me in it. Even at that point, details were being held from me, so I was extrapolating what I could based off the images, but I understood that it was an exploration of the light and dark parts of ourselves and the rules in the galaxy around how the Force can be used, which was insane to experience.
I
So,
mean, she talked about that previously, yeah, with the whole idea that she showed up with pictures drawn of her and like they pitched the show as like, "Hey, we need you in this role." Imagine rolling up to a meeting and they have a whole concept art of you as a Jedi and like you doing all these things in Star Wars and you're like, "I just came here for brunch." But like now I'm leaving and with a Star Wars
now,
project.
yeah, like the mimosas were great, the
Yeah.
avocado toast was nice, but now I'm in
Mhm.
Star Wars. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
insane.
maybe the mimosas were terrible. Maybe it wasn't bottomless mimosas and she just had an awful experience, but then at the end they offer the role and it was the best brunch of her life. That could be.
That's also true. I think that your theory is becoming more and more true, that it's the same person doing one thing, you know?
Mhm.
Um, I think if, uh yeah, I don't know, I don't see it being twins. I don't think I really fell into the twins, but then again, I retweeted it the other day being like, "So are we getting twins then?" Because it seemed like that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
Um I'm so hyped for the show, but I don't know if I'm hyped for that more than I'm hyped to see JJ do his thing. And all the behind the scenes clips, all the interviews, all the other like that's what I'm most hyped for. Um, do you think you're most hyped for the to see if you're right with your theory?
No, because I think this is a I think it's I don't think my theory is bananas because I think a lot of this stuff does point to it. So I think it's a viable option, but it wouldn't surprise me. Like I was saying, it's probably more than likely the twins thing.
Mm,
I'm just tossing that out there because there is things that in Star Wars that plus these quotes and all these because like I don't just do like what exists in canon Star Wars and connect those dots. I connect dots with those things with what these creators are saying in the interviews too, because they very carefully choose their words,
yeah,
especially the showrunner. Like Leslie Headland's going to make sure she like does not say something that is inaccurate deliberately. Like she may do it for fun to throw us off the scent. But there's other things that point me to this theory, and it's just it's hard for me to let it go at this point.
mhm.
But
I mean, they show the guy getting possessed at one point.
right, and what if the major twist in this story happens at the end where we are led to believe throughout 8 episodes that it is two people, and they shoot it that way and they edit it that way because mystery shows do that. They like to cut things and confuse you and lead you
Yeah.
down certain paths. What if the big twist at the end is that we see this, this good twin and those knives like fall out of her outfit or something and we realize it was she was both of them the whole time or something.
It was
I think
Agatha all along.
that would blow my mind as opposed to people are already hearing about the twins thing, and I'm seeing people say like twins again. That's it for this mystery show, this brand new show. I don't
Mhm.
know. I'm still probably gonna love it either way. I'm sure. I'm just tossing that theory out there that it is the same person, and it's due to this witch dark magic possession
I mean, it makes the
hired
most
by
sense
the Sith.
by the evidence that's in front of us in these TV spots and in these interviews. Like it what you're saying, and you brought this up last week as we were talking through these teasers, like it makes the most sense. Um, I think the TV spot that's showing Kelnaka attacking Soul, and from the pictures that we showed last week, I think it's that the Jedi went back in the day to this coven and said, "Hey, you're doing some sketchy stuff here. Knock
Yep.
it off." They
Mhm.
didn't like that so much. So they were
Right.
like, "No, no, you don't tell us what to do." And they used their powers in that moment to make the Jedi go against each other. So you have
Mhm.
Kelnaka fighting Soul, you have that other guy fighting someone else. Like they all turn on each other, and the coven is just standing there kind of laughing, being like, "Oh, you think you have power here? You have no power here."
Right.
And then years later, they realize it's happening again, and it's tied to this coven.
Yeah, it very well could be. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in one of the shots we also see a young version of Stenberg's character with Soul, and it looks to be in that
Yes. It's
area.
like they went to get her.
Yeah.
May.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. Could be onto something here.
I
Could
think
be
you
onto
are. I think you are. I don't think it's twins. I think it would just be too obvious. Like that's such a Star Warsy thing to do, and
yeah.
for Leslie Headland to consistently for months and months and months to be like, it's not what you think it is. It's not what you think it is.
And that would
Because
make
she
sense
did
for
bring up other characters like Bane and
Darth
did,
Bane, yeah.
yeah, which she said would not be mentioned in this season.
Right.
Um, it feels like there's so many things at play that she's not trying to give you everything at once, to the point that she's even saying, "I'm not gonna bring up this person or this in the first season."
Yeah. And again, it could be twins. It's just I find it interesting that there's this heavy um influence from this sorcery from these witches, and they're clearly showing us Jedi on Jedi, and I don't know. It'll be I think it'd be more interesting if it was the same person and they twisted us up on that one, but we'll
Mhm.
see. But overall, you like the footage. What'd you think of the fight scene that they showed, like that full fight scene between Master Soul and this May character?
I mean, it's cool. I feel like we've seen the same clips over and over again. Like, we keep seeing bits and pieces of that scene where he, like, grabs her foot and he, like, stops her and stuff like that. Um, for me, I felt like the behind the scenes gave more, but it's making me feel like Carrie-Anne Moss dies immediately.
I think you're right. I think so too. I
Which makes me
because
so sad that they brought her in to do this big elaborate fight scene and then she's gonna die. But
I know,
maybe
but
that was her Han Solo moment, or Harrison Ford, like, "Yeah, I'll do it, but I wanna die."
I agree, and you know what's also cool about those things? Like the movie Scream, like, they get a big name actress and they kill her off in the beginning, and then you're
Mhm,
like, "Well, if they killed her, like,
mhm,
everyone's on the table." So then Leslie Headland brings in Carrie-Anne Moss, who everybody loves,
yeah. She does a
Matrix,
Matrix
obviously,
fight, yeah.
Memento. She's great. Brings her in. If they knock her out in the first 2 episodes, people are gonna just be like, "Everyone's gonna die, oh no." Like
I think that's what they're gonna do from the behind the scenes clip, which we do have it here, so I'll play it for the group that's watching
yeah,
along. If you're watching on audio, we'll try to describe it a little bit. But Carrie Ann Moss, she's on camera for that one fight scene that we've seen a couple times now. It's come up in trailers. They released the whole fight scene, seemingly a good chunk of it, and then it shows her on a set talking, but even then, that's kind of it. They don't show her anywhere else except in the fight scene, and then back in the day in that Coven village. Those are the only 2 places you see her. So to me, it's like, "Oh, they're gonna kill her. She's gonna
yeah,
die," to set the pace of, like, how powerful May is. Because
right.
if May can go after Indara and kill what you know of Carrie-Anne Moss and her previous characters in pop culture, if she goes in and kills a fan favorite like that, it sets the tone. Like,
Yeah,
no one is
absolutely.
safe. You better watch out. She's more powerful than you think she is. She's not just this random nobody.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I think that's a very distinct possibility that she can,
That
get
makes me
knocked
so
out.
sad, though. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm
Y
so sad if they kill her.
Yeah, and I'm sort of at the point, did you see the cool, the violin thing where the
Oh,
mom's looking?
yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually gonna bring that. Oh, did you see that bug that just popped up on the screen?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Guys, we talked about the bugs last week because they released this picture of behind the scenes with JJ in the woods where he's, like, with his lightsaber, and I was like, "Is that a bug?" Well, they show you the bug in this behind the scenes clip where it comes up on him, tries to
Mhm.
attack him. That's disgusting. Yes, I did see the violin clip. I thought it was brilliant.
Oh,
A
yeah.
really, really, really nice way to sell this show and tie it back to what we as Star Wars fans always look for in these projects, which is people that care about what we care about. Amandla, clearly a fan, loves it,
Yeah.
does cosplay, plays the violin. She had a special arrangement made from John Williams just for, her to play. It's insane. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I
I thought
Yeah,
it was beautiful.
it
Yeah.
was really, really, really nice. And I hope that they take notes because I feel like it had a really good reaction online. They do more stuff like that. I like the people stories more than the behind the scenes clips, the interviews with the cast, stuff like that. I
Mhm.
don't really care that much for the TV spots and trailers. I'd rather watch 3 behind the scenes reels to sell me on a show than a teaser.
I See, yeah, I love watching trailers because I just get so excited,
Mhm.
um, especially if when the music hits, it's trouble.
Right.
But T TV spots
Yes,
is
we
where
know that of you.
yeah. TV spots are where I start fading a little bit because then there becomes like so many of them. I remember like when TFA came out, The Force Awakens. I remember it being like, "Oh, did you check out TV spot 17?" I'm like, "Jeez." Like
TV
there's one
spots.
extra shot of
Yeah.
a tie wing or so, and it's just like then they become too much where it's so overwhelming where I'm like, I don't know what it's in which, and just give me the 2 trailers, maybe a TV spot. So I'm ready at this point, 11 days away. I think I'm good. I think
I'm good to go unless they show
I'm
Yoda.
ready to watch the show. Yeah. So the last thing which we didn't touch on just yet before we get into because we're doing Will of the Force next also, which also has some Acolyte questions, including submitted questions from our patrons. So thank you.
And we should
Um,
also bring up Ask the Resistance if we're doing it.
yeah, we are. Yeah. So yeah, I mentioned at the top, just pop the questions in the chat, use the hashtag Ask the Resistance, and we will discuss them on the show. Before we move on, the Leslie Headland interview, she spoke with Den of Geek, and she was sort of talking about what inspired her to choose these characters or develop these characters. And she said, the character of May was rooted in a very early idea I had, even before we had her character, which was, do the Jedi have a monopoly on the Force, or are there Force users that exist in the galaxy who either dealt with or are being disposed of? Or do they have to keep
Mm.
themselves hidden? Are they good guys or bad guys? And she explained how she came up with the concept and introducing stuff that came before because she was nervous about being in like that weird nooks and crannies of George Lucas's era. So like doing things in between prequels or in between trilogies,
I
which
don't
is
blame
always
her. Like, how is that gonna be creative when you have to get in, like, basically color inside the lines? The
agreed.
picture's already drawn for you.
Basically what J.J. Abrams and like Ryan Johnson had to do is like you're taking this very precious thing and you're
Mhm.
picking it up off of the most precious of those precious things, the original
Mhm.
trilogy. Uh,
Mhm.
so I don't mind her quote saying that. She's like, I wanted to go back, and I think that is really cool. And I'm not, I didn't read the High Republic. I understand it. I got the most important beats out of it. I like that this show is going to be accessible and rewarding in ways for people who love the High Republic, but also not a hindrance for people who haven't. Similar to Ahsoka with people who probably maybe didn't watch Rebels, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But needless to say, I like what she had to say. I don't know if you had anything else on Leslie Headland.
I don't know if I had anything to add. I think her interviews are very straightforward. I think she's truly a fan like we are. I expect amazing Easter eggs in the show and little like beats here and there. They're like, oh my God, it's that thing, because that's the type of person and she seems to be. Um, she from day one has consistently said that she's watched, fan videos online. She's been reading articles and books and looking at maps and doing all these things. So I just expect her to take us on a journey that explores all the things she loves about Star Wars while also doing something completely different, which I am all for. I want different. I don't want to fall back into the same story over and over and over again. Let's go
Mhm.
somewhere new. And I think that's what she's doing with the timeline, and this show specifically is giving
Yeah.
us something completely new.
Yeah, I agree. And sort of flipping it where the Sith are the underdogs,
Mhm.
um, sort of in the shadows, mysterious. The Jedi are vast. So how does something of a small entity that was once great in stature take down this own not empire, but the good
Mhm.
guy version of an empire? The Jedi are running the show. Uh, how do you do it besides some old school manipulation and also some nice trickery and witchcraft and sorcery and bad guy stuff? So I
Are
like
you
that
a
this
fan
show.
of the supernatural stuff though? I feel like you said that you're not. Is
I'm
that
not the
wrong?
big. I'm not the biggest fan necessarily of it, but I know they do it, so I just gotta roll with it. You know,
Mhm.
I mean that. I'm not so far anyway. I'm not the biggest fan of the light whip thing either.
I'm
But
not. I'll openly
yeah,
say that I'm not. I think it takes away from what we know of being a lightsaber, and I will openly admit I might absolutely love it and be like, "I'm
right. That's
completely
the thing.
wrong."
Yeah, yeah.
Which is also what's fun about Star Wars is there have been so many moments in my kind of fandom, in my love for it, that I've been like, "I don't really like this. It really bothers me." And I end up loving it. And then it's been the other way around too, where I'm like, I'm going to love this thing or I love this aspect. And then I get into it and I'm like, I actually don't like this. I like this. But that's the
Hmm.
fun of exploring, this galaxy far, far away is you
I agree.
find things that you like and you don't like. And that's okay. It doesn't
Yeah,
mean you're a hater. It doesn't mean that, like, I don't know, you're a bad fan necessarily. It's just like, I'm not really digging this. And I don't know, the light whip thing just looks too outside of what I think is capable in the universe, but I'm totally open to the fact that it's not my story. It's not my weapon, it's not my idea. So I don't know how it's going to operate. And I know that it's in Legends. A lot of people have pointed to that being like, well, in this Legends book it's in there, or obviously it's in the High Republic, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it operates
I just
in live action.
yeah, and that's just me. Like when I share my opinion on something, I'm not saying I think everyone should agree with this opinion.
Right.
I You're talking to the guy who loved the ending of Game of Thrones. I love The Rise of Skywalker. I don't like Avengers Endgame, and I think Man of Steel is the best comic book movie since Batman Begins. I have very unpopular opinions. I'm
I
just
watch
sharing my
Hallmark
opinion.
movies.
Yeah, I'm just sharing my opinion. I think the thing is weird. I'm very like traditionalist when it comes to lightsabers. You know that. I haven't
Mhm,
liked the whole it lightsaber calls to people, the crystals bleeding. I've never
mhm,
been into that. I liked when Obi-Wan said the first thing he said about it, it's the weapon of a Jedi Knight. It's not as random or clumsy as a blaster. It's an elegant weapon uh, from a more civilized age. And it was just, here's your weapon. It's a sword. It's yours. And we've really sensationalized them as Star Wars has moved on to the like bigger things than what they originally were. Like George Lucas, when he's sitting there talking to Samuel Jackson's like, "What color lightsaber can I have?" And George goes, "Well, good guys use blue and green. Bad guys use red."
mhm.
And
He's
now
like, "I
it's,
want purple." Yeah.
"I will bleed your crystal red." With the hate in my heart. And it's like, I get that it exists. And like I said with the other thing, I roll with it. I'm rolling with it. I'm on board. I may not open that door and be like, hey, how we doing, lightsaber crystals? But I'm on the train. Here we are. So light whip, we'll see if I get my mind changed on that. And I'm happy for people who do love it because I saw people freaking out about it. And I think that's cool.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I was too, and I'm not all for it, but I was still like, "Wow, this is something new." I just said that, like, give me something new.
Yeah. Right. All right. Let us get to. Oh, we do have some super chats, I believe.
We do. So I'm gonna kick it off with Jolton Jedi DiMaggio. Thank you so much. He
Oh,
said, "Just popping in. You guys rock." No, you rock. Thank you
you
so much.
rock.
We really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And next is
And
David Ford. What up, David? He said, "Enjoy Memorial Day weekend, my friends, but please remember it's not about those who have come back alive. It's about the fallen." Agreed.
that's right. Yeah.
Celebrating our troops and the sacrifices they've made. Thank you
Thank you,
so
David.
much,
Appreciate it.
David. I also want to give a quick update to those of us that are tuning in a little later.
Hey.
There we are. We're there, but not there. Danny and Neil are holding down our presence at the Acolyte premiere tonight. So stay tuned for
Uh,
more updates from our social channels at TBR. Oh my God, TBR. TRB podcasts on all the social channels. We're going to have videos and photos and stuff up throughout the night. We're really excited for them. Unfortunately, we couldn't
that's
go, but
awesome.
it doesn't mean we aren't there. We're kind
Right.
of there.
Yeah. So thank you again, Neil and Danny. I know there it's like 6:10, so the show probably hasn't started yet. So they're probably on the carpet and doing all that fun stuff. So I don't know if you guys are watching on your phones while you're there. I hope you're not. I hope you're having a good time. But thanks for again covering it for us
Mhm.
and taking all the photos and videos and just representing us. Like I said, it means a lot. And you two are great people, so we couldn't be happier to have been able to offer those slots to you. That Lucasfilm was so kind to offer to TRB. So hopefully next time, Lacey, you and I are in better spots where
Well,
we can get back.
Skeleton Crew in December. Fingers
Yeah,
crossed. Let's
yeah, we have
go.
kids. There's kids in Skeleton
We
Crew.
have
Yeah,
children.
we have
We have
children.
families.
Yeah. All right,
Tell us a
Lacey.
little earlier, please.
Let's hop into our last news story before Will of the Force, which
Yes.
now we're going beyond the galactic civil war where we were going backwards with the Acolyte. Now we're going past to the future, to the blank canvas that is Rey Skywalker and Daisy Ridley saying once again she wants John Boyega back, but also has recently said in her promotion of The Young Woman in the Sea that she still hasn't read a script. So where are you at with Daisy wanting John back? Seems like the obvious thing, and the fact that she hasn't read a script yet still.
Daisy is stunning. Have you seen her pictures from all these press
It's
junkets? Oh my God. It's like she's getting better looking over
I know.
time, like more and
It's
more.
absurd.
It's
Yeah,
disgusting. No, I'm just
right.
joking. No, she's gorgeous. She's beautiful. I love all her photos. Um, First of all, I feel bad for her because she's one of those actors, and we know in the Star Wars fandom how it is that no matter what movie, TV show, project she's working on, she's going to always get asked about Star Wars. So sorry, Daisy, it's always gonna happen. I love how I said that like she's actually gonna listen to this. If you are, hi, thanks for listening. But other than that, I really hope she
Never
gets more
thought
time
about
to
listening to TRB before.
I really hope she gets more questions about like her performance in that movie because we've talked about it on Nice, Nerdy and Nice about how it's up basically for an Oscar nomination. Like she's on the short list because of that movie. So hopefully that happens. But um, it makes me nervous hearing that she hasn't read a script yet because she said that a year ago. So it's been a year and she hasn't read a script yet. Now I know the strikes were going on and whatnot, but supposedly that script was supposed to be done before the strike happened. That's when we last heard about it, is they were rushing to get at least a first draft done by that strike, and then the strike happened. Oh, this movie's making me nervous. I really want it to happen. I'm like the biggest, Daisy Ridley Ray fan, and there's nothing more than this project. I cried when they announced it at Celebration. It is like the project that I wanted announced. You'll hear me screaming on everybody's videos from Star Wars Celebration before she comes on stage screaming,
Yep.
"Is it Daisy?" Because like that's who I am. But I mean, aren't you nervous, John? Aren't you a little nervous that they haven't had
Um,
any update except, "Hey, I know the concept. Hey, yeah, we had a conversation. Hey, yeah, we're talking," because there have been numerous people in the production sphere of Lucasfilm that are always talking. We're talking.
yeah,
Conversations are happening.
yeah. I mean, this is becoming quietly more than in the past, one of those projects that it's like, oh yeah, remember when that person was attached, and like Damon Lindelof, like he was supposed to be, this was supposed to be his movie, and he backs away from it, and Stephen Knight comes in, same director though, Charmin Obaid Chinoy, as far as we know, still directing.
Mhm.
The fact that she hasn't read a script doesn't necessarily make me that worried, because I think Stephen Knight recently said he's like finishing it up or whatever. But she must at least know the full story at this point. So, because then it's getting weird, because they had to have been cognizant of the fact, like Daisy Ridley, like, or at least her people, if she didn't say it, were like, you guys realize she's going to be out promoting this new big movie she's doing, and you know everyone's going to ask her about Star Wars. You need to let us know what she can say.
Or give her,
So,
like, a list of updates that she can start at the top and work her way down with every
yeah,
up with
yeah.
every
So
you know?
I'm guessing their plan was probably for her to have already read the script, so that she could have said, "I read the script and I am excited and I love it." But she hasn't been able to yet, and she's already promoting this other movie. So now she's awkwardly saying, "I haven't
Imagine
read the script yet," and we're
imagine
all
it's in
freaking
her
out.
emails, and she just hasn't read the email. She's
It's
like,
in her
"I'm really
spam.
busy." Yeah, "I'm really busy right now." It's just
Yeah, yeah, uh, yeah. Imagine they just emailed Star Wars scripts to people.
they would never. I mean, look what
Uh,
happened with John Boyega where he, like, left it somewhere, remember? He, like,
yeah,
left it
in a
under his bed
hotel
or
or
something.
whatever. Yeah. I'm not that worried, but it wouldn't surprise me, and I'll explain later why, because I thought I saw someone sneak in a question was similar to a tweet I'd posted today about release schedules and being very similar to a certain movie that didn't do all that great 6 years ago. By the way, happy anniversary to Make Solo 2 Happen Day. It's like the 5-year anniversary.
Yay!
Always make Solo 2 happen forever until we see Alden back on screen. Because let's be honest, the follow up to Solo would have ripped. Would have been so cool seeing the War of the Syndicates
I
and all
still
that
have
stuff.
hope. I still have
I,
hope that they're gonna do
I
something
do too.
eventually. This
Yeah.
Lando project is giving me new come on. Come on,
And they're
Donald.
greenlighting a Vision series for Marvel. Does anyone really care about Vision?
Their whole schedule is kinda messy. A little
Sorry.
bit.
All right. Am I safe to make fun of Marvel on my Star Wars podcast
I
sometimes?
think you can
Maybe.
make fun of anybody anywhere. Who cares?
I know. Yeah.
Life's short.
Life is
You know.
short. All right. So, my concluding thoughts on this: I think Boyega's a lock. I think he's 100% coming
Oh,
back.
yeah.
You don't develop this story and have him be a maybe and then try to wedge him in. If Boyega's coming back, he's coming back to right the wrong, which means he's going to be a Jedi. He's going to have lightsaber duels. He's going to be using the Force. All the stuff people complained that JJ wanted to do that got swept away with The Last Jedi. I think he's coming back big, and you cannot bring Finn back big without him being in these story treatments or anything like that. So I think she's completely lying about this part of it. I think he is back. I think he is 100% coming back. I'm locking that in. You can book that. John Boyega, guaranteed, going to be in the Rey movie.
I agree. Can I throw something really random out there that I think is going to really shock you right now?
Mm-hmm.
May the 4th was recently. I turned on The Force Awakens to watch on May 4th, followed by The Phantom Menace, of course. But I started with The Force Awakens, which I felt was the most rewatchable. I actually think that Phantom Menace might beat that now as like kind
Oh,
of like the most fun rewatchable movie. Because Force Awakens has some dark moments that if you're watching it with your 2.5-year-old, you're like, oh, this is kind of scary. Skip, 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 skip. So I'm about to get wild in here based on how people know me and know of my feelings about certain relationships in the sequel trilogy. I think it is very apparent and clear that in The Force Awakens, the romance was supposed to be between Rey and Finn. I 100% believe that. I went back and watched it, and look, I am totally on the Ben Solo train. I was from Last Jedi into The Rise of Skywalker. But when you go back and watch The Force Awakens, there are so many beats that when you haven't watched it for a while, which I haven't, that I'm like, they're holding this stare a little long. You know what I mean? They're
hmm.
hugging a little long. She's kissing him on the forehead and they're getting really upset. And like at the beginning when she's like, I've never met a resistance fighter before. And he's like all like, oh, haha, you got a cute boyfriend, whatever.
Oh, he flirts with her. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I just get this vibe that like that was the original goal, and
Or at
then
least something
things
to
got
potentially
changed.
explore.
Right, and things got, which is weird because here's the thing. You have the Finn stuff in the first movie. Second movie, clearly Ben Solo, Kylo Ren, very obvious, the whole finger touching thing. Then you get into the third movie, and you remember when we were at the premiere, John, the whole Poe stuff at the beginning where he catches her when she falls through I literally turned to you and I was like, "Oh my god, they're doing it. They're gonna
I
make."
thought the Poe thing was happening.
When they start fighting at the beginning of that movie, where she's like, "What'd you do to the Falcon?" Blah blah blah, and he's like, "Don't worry about it. Maybe you should have come." And she's like,
Oh
"You're
yeah,
so difficult. You're such a difficult man." And I'm sitting there and I looked at you and I was like, "Oh my god, they're literally changing everything and making it
yeah,
a Poe thing."
yeah. Remember the I
So
know theory?
yes,
Yeah,
I just, but yeah, going back and watching Force Awakens, it was a very weird experience because I
interesting.
haven't watched it in a long time, but I felt very much so that Finn, if you were coming out of the movie now without all the other Kylo Ren stuff, it was very much she was, something was going on with her and Finn.
Have you not sent in your annual payment for the renewal on your Raylo fan club membership?
Look, I look, I said that. I subscribe to Raylo. I think the story was there. I think they fumbled it at the finish line. I think they didn't do a good job with the end of it. But the story building up to that point, especially with Ryan Johnson's movie, it was clear that's what they were doing. So that's
Yeah.
why I went for it. It was the whole enemies to lovers thing. I get it. I understand.
Mhm.
I love season 2 of Bridgerton, which is that. But when you're watching Force Awakens after not watching it for a long time, the friends to lovers thing was very much like he was more invested than she was, but she doesn't know what to expect because she's been
She
on her own
called
for
him.
so long.
Didn't she call him, "Thank you, my friend," at the end when he was in his coma and she kissed him on the forehead?
Yes,
I
but from Rey to go from "Stop holding my hand" to her openly kissing him on the forehead and crying when he's hurt, that's a big jump. That's a
mm,
big, like, "Hey, don't touch my hand.
I
Who
always
are
thought
you?"
yeah,
to,
yeah.
"Hey, now I'm kissing you."
I getcha.
But then
I
again,
get on the
they're handing
forehead, though.
out, I know, but they're handing out Rey kisses in the sequel trilogy as thank yous, so I have never thanked a man by kissing him, but apparently Rey's doing it all the time. I don't I don't know.
Everyone starts holding the door open for Daisy Ridley at grocery stores, and they're like,
Are you kidding? I would hold the door open for Daisy Ridley at a grocery store.
"I would hold the door open for anybody, but I would absolutely hold the door open for Daisy Ridley." Though I would
No, I'm
prefer
saying
her.
for the kiss, I would hold the door open for her.
You would? Wow.
100%. Don't
God
tell
bless
me.
you.
I wanna meet the person that's telling me they're not kissing Daisy Ridley. And I'm
Oh,
not trying to
liars.
be
All
inappropriate. I'm not
liars.
trying to be inappropriate. I'm not trying to, like, harass her.
No,
I'm just
no,
saying she's
no.
a very, very
Yeah.
beautiful woman. So who's saying that they wouldn't?
But I would rather her enter a grocery store with the automatic doors and do what Ewan McGregor does, which is pretend she's using the Force. Yeah. Which did you hear he does that?
I think we all do it. I do it. I totally do it.
But Ewan McGregor says he does it, and he's like wondering if people see him do it. It's pretty funny.
It is very funny.
All right. That I think wraps up.
I'm just hoping people don't take away from this conversation is like Lacey's trying to like make out with everyone. I don't know what's going on there.
Just Daisy Ridley. Just Daisy Ridley. All right. I know we have one more super chat, and then we can get into
We do.
Will of the Force.
Awesome. Perfect. So Christy, what up? Thank you for the super chat. Said, love all the speculation. I hope it's more creative than Twins. That reminds me of the 90s soap operas I watched with my grandma. And then she wrote heart, TRB, and nerdy and nice. Thank you so much. We appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Christy.
It
Yeah,
does sound like a soap opera thing, but then again, George Lucas very much said that it's a soap opera.
that's true. He did. Yeah. Space
Mhm.
opera. All right.
Mhm.
Lacey, you will now take the baton, or the lightsaber hilt, we'll call it, and
Mm.
let's have some fun answering some questions.
I fear nothing, for all this as the Force wills it.
All right. Hey everyone, time for Will of the Force. So this is the segment on the show that we put up will they, won't they, will this happen, will it not happen scenarios, and give our answers and talk through those scenarios and why we think the things we think. However, this is also part of the show that people from our Patreon page at patreon.com/TRB podcasts can be part of the show starting at our $5 tier, our majors. You submit your questions every week and we pick some to include. So thank you for doing that. And by being a part of the Patreon, which if you head over there right now, you not only get behind the scenes videos, get extra mini episodes, get to be a part of the show. You're supporting what we're doing here and you're supporting what our dream is, which is to be podcasters and creators full time. That's our people always ask us, what do we want to be doing? That's what we dream to be doing. And we're getting there with your help, but that's why we have a Patreon page. So thank you so much in advance that support us both on Patreon and not. If you just want to share episodes and follow us on audio platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and just leave us a review, that helps too. And we truly appreciate it. So thank you so much. So we're getting into Will of the Force. We have a Patreon submission to start from Mark at the kind of vacants. He asks, Amandla plays the Force theme on the violin. Will we hear the Force theme in The Acolyte? John.
That is so tough because I think, this show is going to have a lot of the Force in it. So 8 episodes of a show just drenched in the Force. I got to say yes. It has to pop in at some point. So yeah. Mark, I think we definitely are. What do you think, Lacey?
100%. They made this arrangement for her to play it so that they would then record it and put it in the show. That is clear from the behind the scenes vignette that they did where they have the guys in the sound booth like with the little they're always like pushing something up, pulling something down, like turning knobs. I want to be that person, just like the sound engineer.
Yeah.
But they're always like just nodding to each other, like that's the sound. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, do you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I don't think they went through that whole soundstage with the spotlight and her coming in and Amanda coming in and recording that. They wouldn't do all that if it wasn't featured in the show.
I think you're right. I don't know about
why would Amanda saying it's so? Why would they say they're so nervous recording it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
why nervous if it's not in the show? I think it is.
Yeah.
Next up, we have when he inevitably returns in the Rey movie. Oh, okay. I didn't see what you're saying here. When he inevitably returns in the Rey movie as a Jedi, will John Boyega's Finn have a single blade lightsaber? And as a bonus, any guesses on color? I think he will have a single blade. I think it's going to be green.
Oh.
I think I've said this before.
My answers now? Is that what's happening?
No, I think we've talked about this before.
I think we have.
But it's still a great question, so I have no problem talking about it again.
Yeah.
And I have no problem being right.
I think single blade also because one, we can't have Finn upstage Rey from a lightsaber perspective, and she
should have had a double. Oh my god, she should have had a double.
I like the double-bladed saber with villains. I don't love it with light side users because it is seemingly a more aggressive weapon.
But she had the staff in The Force Awakens.
Oh, we all thought that she was gonna split that thing, and and she did in a sense. But I think he'll have a single blade, and I think it'll be green also, just to put a I think people still have such a core memory of seeing him light up the blue one in TFA that it needs to have a different feel. And I think just going a different color, but a more traditional color, because Rey's is not traditional, I think that's the way to go. So I'm actually with you. We're both saying single bladed green lightsaber for Finn, Jedi, and away we go.
Oh, I'm gonna be so hyped when that trailer comes out. And ready? Here's the picture. There's gonna be some fight happening. Like I'd love like a rainy fight scene, like a rainy situation where they're fighting people, or they're about to go into some fight, and the camera does that push, that slow push into John Boyega. He turns to the camera and he's just like, "Let's do this." And he like turns his lightsaber on. I could totally see that happening, or like, "Let's go." I want it. I need it. I want him to have that moment.
John
'Cause it's
Boyega
kinda
signs up to come back, and he's looking
Because
at
it's
the
kinda
script.
like, "F all you guys that didn't think this was possible," you know? Like that like and then it would go to black, and then it's like, "This December."
You know, you know what I would do if I was Lucasfilm?
What?
I would pull a prank on Boyega and like have him in a room reading the script with a camera on him, and have his entrance into the movie be like, something's happening, and then it says like Finn shouts, "Ray!" And he's like, "Again, you got me just yelling Ray over and over." I
Oh
would
my
love to just see
goodness.
his reaction to this big return and the apology tour from Kathleen Kennedy, and he's going to be a Jedi, and his first line is just him screaming Ray at the top of his lungs.
I wish they would have him sit down and record it being like, "He's back. It's time for him to read the script for the first time." And then the first line in the script is that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then everyone would be like, "What is happening?"
I
He'd
think
be
that'd be
so
great.
mad. He'd be
And then
so
use that in the marketing of the movie. People will love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They should bring us in. I think that's brilliant. Or stupid. I don't
Dun,
know.
dun, dun. Let's do this. Dun, dun, dun.
Let's do this. Yeah. There's a fine line between stupid and brilliant. So take your
I
pick.
ride that line all the time.
Man. Yeah. All right.
Next up is Patreon submission from a new commander, Jedi Big Geek. What up? How's it going?
What up?
He asked, "Will there be a massive Star Wars celebration in 2027 to celebrate the 50th anniversary of A New Hope? And will it be in Orlando or in Anaheim?" John.
You're the celebration guru. What do you think?
I know,
think
but I'm interested to see what you're going to say.
Well, I think 50th is a guarantee because I think we talked about this recently too. Like, it's sort of becoming one of the last, like, that'll be the last big one where a lot of the people who are still with us, who are around from the beginning, are going to be able to go to it.
Are you saying Mark
And
Hamill?
Mark Hamill, Anthony Daniels, a lot of those OGs that are still with us, Billy D, get it, maybe even Harrison Ford, get them as many as you can for the 50th. It's that's a real anniversary, 50th anniversary. Like, every year we're celebrating the anniversary of a Star Wars movie released, and I've made this joke. It's like, happy 17th anniversary, Revenge of the
You
Sith.
said
And it's like,
22nd.
yeah, can we just, yeah. So 50th for the franchise, that's the big one. So they have to do a celebration that year, and I think Orlando makes a lot of sense because they haven't been there. That'll be 10 years since they were there last time. What do you think?
I agree 100%. They're definitely going to be to do something huge in 2027, and I think they're going back to Orlando because they've done Anaheim twice now. So it's kind of Orlando's turn, so to speak. Plus, there are rumors and speculation that they're going to rework the Star Cruiser Hotel or something Star Warsy down in Galaxy's Edge in Florida. That could be enough time for them to launch it when Celebration's happening down there.
Interesting.
Before we head to our last question, Will of the Force, I do want to remind everybody to send in your Star Wars questions with hashtag Ask the Resistance, so we could flag it in the live comments. Thank you so much. All right, last question. Will a Jedi kill another Jedi in the Acolyte? John. Dun, 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 dun. Let's do this.
I'm gonna say, man, that's tough. I'm gonna say no. Because I think that, like, we saw Anakin kill a Jedi, but he was already Darth Vader at that point. Like, he had already turned.
Right.
He didn't kill Mace Windu. He cut his arm off. And then he
pushed him out a window.
And then he gets anointed as Darth Vader, and then from there he kills the Jedi. But to me, that wasn't Jedi Anakin anymore. That was the Sith. That was Darth Vader. But I think So I think Leslie Headland, like, it would be a gutsy thing to actually just have a Jedi kill another Jedi, like, even if it's with possession or something. So my guess is she steers away from that specifically. So I'm saying no.
Interesting. I don't want to be lame, but I also agree. I think there's so much going on that a Jedi to kill another Jedi would be weird. But if your guy is the guy you think he is, where he's the bad guy, don't you think he's going to turn on someone at some point? Talking about that, what's his name? Yonder? Yonder. I'm still learning names, guys.
Oh yeah, Yord Fandar.
Yeah, him.
Yeah, I mean that's
What about the
possible too.
Steves in Star Wars? Can we get some Steves up in here? Maybe some Keiths.
I know. We went from Luke,
Luke,
Owen,
which
and
is
Ben
literally the most popular child's name right now.
to like Jackie, Maleki. I think people forgot that Star Wars did have some names that were kind of regular. No,
Leia, Han,
yeah.
Luke.
Oh, and then the Chiss names are just out of control. Out of control.
I swear it's someone just doing this on a keyboard, but they're hitting the cymbals too. They're just da 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 da.
They just give their keyboard to a baby, and the baby slaps the crap out of the keys,
It's
and then they're like,
the Four Seasons Resort baby.
yeah, right.
Me.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah,
Who
right.
wants to make up a new Chiss name? Me.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
All right,
So
cool. Let's get into other people's questions in
we
Ask
should.
the Resistance.
I've been wondering, what are midichlorians?
Right. Thank you, Annie. As we head into 2 questions here. So let's get into them. Some good ones. The first one will go to Semper Fi Danny, who asks, will the Acolyte lead to other films in that era, or is this a one and done for this time frame? Man, that is a good question.
That's a great question, Danny. Good question. I think it's going to stay in TV, um, because Leslie Headland has said that she's thought out a couple seasons ahead, and to me, that doesn't say movie, that says TV. Now, that doesn't speak to Bob Iger's plans, because as we've seen, he's already taken a bunch of series off Disney Plus and said, no, we're doing movies now. Back to the movies. But for me, it seems like this has been very much written as a TV show and plotted out as a TV show. And Leslie Headland makes TV series. So I think she's sticking with the TV medium.
Or is Danny saying not necessarily the Acolyte, but just other films?
Oh, the era.
In the era.
Interesting. Okay. I'm gonna still say no. I think the Acolyte's gonna be its own thing. Because right now they're working on that. Rey, Mandalorian, and then they're doing the Prime Jedi Red Eye Steak back in the
Which is not
early
called Prime Jedi anymore. It's back to the untitled James Mangold Dawn of the Force Jedi movie.
Prime Cheesecake Factory steak. I don't know.
It's Christmas Eve. Oh, Merry Christmas.
You love that part so much. You bring
That's
that
the
up
best part
all
of the
the time.
movie. Richard Jenkins, this has nothing to do with Star Wars, but if Richard Jenkins wants to be in Star Wars, I'll be the first person in line to be the president of that fan club. I'm already the president of the Tony Gilroy fan club. I'm the president of the Balin Skull fan club. And now I might have to be the president of Richard Jenkins in Star Wars, but that
You're
guy's
just
so funny.
so busy, John.
I love Richard Jenkins. All right. Will the Acolyte lead to other films? I don't think so either, just because then it might start getting a little dangerous because they set it far back enough where they can sort of plant the seeds of how the Sith came back. It depends on where the Acolyte ends. I know that's a cop-out answer. Yeah, I think it depends on how the Acolyte does and how the story of the Acolyte ends. And I know it doesn't have to be necessarily connected at all to this. They can do 100 years ago, the first pod race. They can do that. But I don't know. We'll see. I think it really depends on how this era lands with the wider audience, because that's ultimately what leads them to make more of things. Makes a little too happy, baby. All right. Thank you, Danny. Last question. We're gonna go to Andrew Staley. What's up, buddy?
What up, Andrew?
How you doing, man? A lot of the TRB family met up at C2E2 in Chicago.
I'm so jealous.
And
Next year
really
I'm
cool to
going.
see.
I'm going to C2E2. I love C2E2.
Are we going to be in Japan or no?
Oh yeah, we might be in Japan.
All right.
Never mind.
Andrew said the Mando movie will be out 2 weeks after a new Avengers movie. How much do you think this will impact its success? Did Disney not learn from Solo? Andrew, I tweeted something very similar today.
I called this out the day they announced these dates when we were chatting about it. I said they're doing it again.
But did we know that Steven Spielberg is also launching
His new movie.
a brand new like IP or whatever it is in
Yeah.
between those two?
Who to
So
get to
it's
write
just-
it? They just announced that today.
Who's writing it?
Yeah. It was
David Koepp from Jurassic Park. Yeah.
Yes.
And
He
yeah,
means
we'll talk about that.
business.
Yeah, we're
Bringing
gonna
in
talk about
him.
that on Nerdy and Nice
Mhm.
for a bit on Monday. But yeah, Andrew, I'll say this. I hope that the Mando and Grogu movie hits its date. I hope the Rey movie hits its date for later that year. Would not shock me at all if Mando, because the Rey movie, she hasn't read the script yet. I feel like that's not where they thought it would be. You don't want to rush this stuff. We've seen what happens when they do. Would not shock me. And I wouldn't even be upset about it because of what happened to Solo, which Bob Iger and Disney botched that marketing so bad. It's
They've
incredible.
botched a lot of marketing.
It wouldn't
lately.
it wouldn't bother me, and it wouldn't shock me if Mando takes the December date and Rey gets the Rey movie gets pushed to 2027, 50th anniversary of Star Wars. Relaunch the main line that way. Would not surprise me at all. And this way, Star Wars, the Mando and Grogu movie probably performs better.
Yeah, people seem to forget that Solo was after Deadpool and also Avengers Endgame.
Infinity War. Yeah.
Sorry, Infinity War.
Wait, yeah, it was Infinity War, right? Yeah.
It was Infinity War and Deadpool.
Yeah.
2.
And it wasn't marketed, and it was filmed twice. And
come on, guys.
I love you, Solo. I love that movie so much. Oh God, it hurts. I may watch it again this weekend. We'll see. All right. That is it for questions. Lacey, do you have anything else for our wonderful folks out there? I know Neil and Danny are probably in the theater, boots on the ground. TRB West holding it down for us at the Acolyte premiere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just thank you again to Lucasfilm for letting us be a part of this event and hopefully future events. It means a lot to us.
Yeah.
And our listeners and followers and stuff like that. Stay tuned for more stuff from us, from not just TRB, from Nerdy and Nice as well. We have a ton of contests we have to do. We've been planning them out, so buckle up.
Oh, yeah.
We got stuff we got to do with that, but yeah, we have so many cool things that we're working on with our podcast now, and just trying to make everything better and evolving Patreon and whatnot. It's been a very exciting time, and I can't wait to see what this summer brings for us and into the fall. Fingers crossed, Skeleton Crew. And I'm saying that obviously as a spoiled fan that's about to get a new show in 2 weeks. I'm like,
I know.
Skeleton Crew.
Yeah.
No, but stay tuned for that. And remember that our show for TRB is switching to Wednesdays once that comes out.
Yep. Yeah. TRB live Wednesday nights for the entire run of the Acolyte. Very excited for that. And yeah, Lacey mentioned it before. But to support TRB, there's a lot of ways you can do it. Just listening to the show, telling friends about it, rating us on the podcast apps, following the channel,
liking this video,
and also, like she said, patreon.com/TRB podcasts. It's $5 to join. You get exclusive content for TRB and Nerdy and Nice and everything else that we're doing. Also, first looks at episodes, access to the Discord server when you join the commander ranks. A lot of cool stuff. Just check out the channel. Patreon.com/TRB podcasts. Check out our Patreon and check out the tiers. And if you're able to, sign up. We appreciate it. And I think we're doing yearly. You can do a yearly sign up now too, I believe.
Yes, you can sign up yearly and you get a discount if you do so.
Very cool. A special shout out to our movie star generals and our silver screen spice runners. The generals Carmelo, John Reese, Jetta Rosewater, Frank Grande, Nick Kratz, Chris Morales, Brian Smith, Danny, Mike Ramori, Brendan McLaughlin, Sneaky Zebra, Dave Hornack, Jolton Jedi DiMaggio, and Colin Cormier. And the spice runners David Probus, Neil Shaw, Kendall Gellner, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, and the Fort Worthian, and all of our patrons, all of our listeners. However, you're a part of the TRB family, it's a good time and a great community, and you're a part of why that is the case. Thank you very, very much. For me, Johnny Hoey on X is the best spot to chat me up. And I have my movie podcast, Just Like the Movies. We're doing Point Break next, little Keanu for y'all. And of course, Nerdy and Nice on Monday with my friend Lacey here. Lacey, pizza time's coming, but until then, where can people chat you up?
People can find me on social media at Lacey Gillerin and on TikTok at It's Lacey Gillerin. And again, stay tuned to our social channels, TRB Podcast, for updates from the Acolyte premiere, which Danny and Neil just met Pablo Hidalgo.
They did? How about that? All
Yeah.
right.
That's why I was looking at my phone, guys. I didn't mean to be rude, but I'm getting updates from them. So I'm looking in there.
It's
Everything
live.
looks cool. They have the May costume out that they were taking pics with. It was just really fun. Really, really awesome.
So awesome. I can't wait to check those out as soon as we get off here. But
Mhm.
thank you all so much. And we'll be back with you on TRB Live next Thursday before the Acolyte. We're going to do our last sort of final predictions, bold predictions. Our bold prediction shows usually get a little wacky and fun. I don't know if they're going to get bolder than what we threw out here today, but we'll probably get 12 more TV spots, and then we can get more crazy. So Nerdy and Nice Monday, of course. TRB Live again next Thursday. And from us, we hope you have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Stay safe. And until next time, we'll see you around, kids.